Assemble! Stay dandy, baby. The first episode of Tower of God had me scratching my head at its crazy premise, its wacky characters, and its mysterious fantasy setting. Episode 2 of Tower of God officially has me hooked. I am already loving this show. It only took 2 episodes, but I'm already a fan of Tower of God. First and foremost, I want to thank all of my new viewers and commenters for my review of the last episode. That review did really well, and I loved all of the discussion that was there. I'm going to try and do my best to discuss with you guys a little bit more in this review right here, because a lot of crazy stuff happens, so let's go ahead and dive right in. But real quick, first, make sure to check out my Patreon in the description box below. I only have 2 patrons currently, and I want to get up to at least 5 or 10. Please, I would really appreciate it, guys. Remember, a little bit goes a long way, but let's go ahead and talk about episode 2 of Tower of God, which opened up with the very first test with Bomb and Coon and Rak Wraithraiser, which has got to be one of the coolest fucking names I have ever heard. Rak is the giant pissed off alligator man with a spear, and just saying that out loud is so damn satisfying. It looks like a lot of the main characters are formally introduced in this episode, and already I think they're all pretty likable, even the ones that are actually kind of made to be annoying, but it looks like the 3 main characters are going to be none other than Bomb himself, the mysterious blue-haired boy who goes by the name of Coon, and then of course there's Rak Wraithraiser, who, like I said, just saying that guy's name honestly just gives me goosebumps. It's so amazing. And these 3 characters could not be more different from one another, but honestly that's what makes the dynamic between all 3 of them all the more interesting. But the first half of this episode is almost solely dedicated to a lot of really solid action and seeing more of these weird and crazy characters actually fight each other in this big massive battle royale as we try to sort of whittle the numbers down to 200 separate people. And it's not just Bomb, Coon, and Rock that we get to spend time with. We also get to go to that one mysterious green girl who has this like sword which transforms into a whip, and she's battling against this swordsman who's using a red and blue sword, and they have a really epic fight in this episode too. Clearly skilled warriors going at it, and the person who's going to be joining them is a character who goes by the name of Shinsu, and Shinsu seems like he's going to be sort of like the default comic relief of the show, and kind of a sad sack kind of character where he claims to be something of a badass martial artist, but he leaves a lot to be desired. We'll have to see what he's truly capable of. The other reason that I'm talking about these characters in 3 is because after this battle royale comes to a close, we get to see that there is another quick competition where everyone is going to have to form these 3-man teams. They all have to be touching each other in order to make this happen. Of course, Bomb and Coon are going to work together, but Rak seems a little more reluctant to want to work with these 2 characters that he refers to simply as Black Turtle and Blue Turtle. But of course, they're able to outsmart the big alligator man by saying, hey, if you stay with us, you'll be able to go after even stronger opponents and be able to continue the amazing hunt that you are looking for. Of course, Rak might appear pretty stupid. He's not going to fall for that trick, so they have to use other means in order to actually stop him, and by the end, we have a brand new 3-man team. We go back to Anaka, who is the weird, creepy little green girl who was battling against the swordman who goes by the name of Hots, and they're also going to be joining Shinsu. We also have a number of other different team members and characters who are introduced here, but basically, that's the first half of the episode, and honestly, I thought it was really solid. It kind of gave me some of that action that I was hoping to see in the first episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, going up against a giant creepy eel monster was pretty exciting, but I was ready to see some one-on-one fights, and so far, the series continues to look really good in terms of how it executes its action, and the fact that there's so much variety amongst the main cast really, I think that's what's kind of selling me on the series the most. You never really know what's going to happen. And there's so much mysteriousness around all of these characters. Like, they do dive into some pretty important details. Like the fact that Bomb's sword is called the Black March, and apparently it's a sword which was gifted to that Princess Yuri, who apparently is the daughter of the king of this entire tower. Again, elements like that are what I'm really liking about this episode, is how they're slowly starting to sort of trickle that information and lore about this world, and I think that's really what's going to continue to hook me as a viewer, just getting to see, like, really what's going on in this story. The character of Coon is incredibly mysterious. I'm not really sure what his deal is. The implication, of course, is that he's kind of a big deal, he's pretty powerful, and who knows what he's carrying in that little suitcase. And really just tying it all together is Rak Wraithraiser. I just wanted an excuse to say his name again. The second half of the episode is when we move into the second official test. Now we have all three of these teams that are coming together. Everybody's got their three-man cells, and they're met by this brand new character who goes by the name of Lero Ro, and he has the rank of Ranker. And apparently in this world, a Ranker is someone who has actually climbed to the very top of the tower. So basically, they're the glorified badasses of the series. And he presents all of these teams with a test. Apparently, there is this power which goes by the name of Shinsu. It basically takes the form of water, and it's something that you're going to see a lot in the tower, apparently, and something that a lot of these regulars and irregulars are going to have to deal with as they make their way to the top. So he erects this massive wall of water that everybody is going to have to walk through, and the only way that you're going to be able to pass is that you have all three team members walk through this giant water wall. Now, this is not typical water. You have to have, like, a lot of power to actually make it through it. You have to be almost a chosen one, so to speak. And of course, they dive into some of those aspects a little bit here as well, and also remind the viewer that there's something not quite right about the main character of Bomb, as when this massive water wall is erected, he actually is able to just casually go right through it. It doesn't even affect him at all, and then Lara Ro just tells him, well, this is probably a lot of luck, and you're going to need a lot of that in this tower, so I'm just going to go ahead and let you pass. And the rest of the episode follows a lot of these characters as they slowly and surely try to make their way through this massive wall of water. Some of it is played for laughs, some of it is very shocking to say the least. Of course, the characters that you expect are going to make it through, indeed, actually do. Of course, you have Anaka and Hots, and even Chibisu somehow, like, sort of powers his way right through this stuff. And of course, you have Rak and Kun, who has a little bit of trouble as he's making his way through the end as his suitcase ends up getting caught. And I'm not sure why that is. There's clearly something inside of that suitcase that they're not wanting to tell us about that I think is already making this character just so much more interesting, to say the least. Really, this is an episode which gave me everything I wanted from the first episode, which was a lot of cool action and actually starting to explain a little bit more about the lore of this world, which we'll discuss a little bit more in the rundown of this episode of The Tower of God. Tower of God is an anime series that I can already see is going to end up being maybe, possibly, a classic in the making. I mean, according to a lot of my commenters, this is like a series that is on par with One Piece in terms of its popularity, and I can honestly see that with the world that it's actually trying to create. And this episode did a great job of establishing, like, how big this world is and how mysterious it's going to be. Something else that's kind of interesting is that during the moment when Bomb actually passes the second test and he's talking with Lara Ro, we get to learn a little bit more about how this world works and how it's connected to this tower. Apparently, everyone lives kind of like in and around this tower in some way. Like, this tower is so massive, it sort of encompasses the entire world that these characters actually live in. And of course, the interesting thing about Bomb is that he's a character who is not really from the tower at all. And they try to hint at maybe where he could possibly be from a little bit at the beginning of the episode, again, with a small scene with him and Rachel. But again, it mostly just serves the purpose of showing how his morality has been sort of shaped by her in the small time that he got to spend with her, and how he's sort of really obsessed with trying to find her yet again. Even going as far as to asking Laro, like, have you actually seen this girl before? And unfortunately, it's a big no. But again, I think my favorite thing about this episode is just really how diverse it was. The cast, the characters, even just the background characters, everybody has this amazing distinctiveness to it, and it really makes this world seem so much larger by seeing all of these different races and creatures, and it wants me, I just want to learn a lot more about this world and where these people actually come from, and that's kind of what hooked me about this entire episode right here. That, and they did a pretty good job of establishing, like, who a lot of the main characters are going to be, what sort of alliances we're eventually going to have. I wonder if these teams are eventually going to come together, or if they're actually going to be going up against one another as they make their way to the top of the tower. There's just a lot that they lay out in this episode, and luckily it really wasn't, like, too overwhelming with a lot of the new information that they were presenting. It was honestly kind of intriguing throughout most of the episode, and I also love that this is a show that looks like it can pretty much do anything. Like, there are moments when the action is really intense and awesome, there are moments with a lot of emotion, and then there are moments which are just funny as hell. Rak Wraithraiser is a giant, disturbing alligator monster with a spear who would love nothing more than to hunt you like the fucking Predator. But at the same time, he's like the funniest character of the entire series. I didn't expect him to turn into a goofy idiot eating chocolate bars, but there it is. It's in this episode, and it works really well. This was a a great second episode of the series, which has got me really hyped to see what's going to be next for Tower of God. With that, I'm going to give the second episode of the series a 5 out of 5 for being action-packed, intriguing, and having really good production value, just like the first episode of the series. This is definitely one to check out. If any of you guys did watch the second episode of the series, sound off in the comments section below and tell me what you thought about it, your favorite moments, your favorite introduction of characters, and who's your favorite character from the series so far, and what do you hope to see from the rest of Tower of God? Any theories as to really what's going on with this series, the mysteries that lay forth? Let's talk about all of that. Comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. Also, if you guys would like to, again, check out my Patreon account. It's in the description box below. Remember, if any of you guys actually do make a donation, I will review an anime series of your choice. Of course, remember, it has to be somewhat of a short show. If it's like over 50 or 100 episodes, I can only watch so much of it. But it's a great way to get like a viewer request. I'm already working on one right now, which I'm like 70% done with it. It's Hitman Reborn, and I've been working really hard on it, so stay tuned for that. It's coming very soon, as well as a ton of other reviews this anime season. It's a good time to be an anime fan. So there it is, my friends. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.